the thing. Let's do the streams. Let's kick it in the streams. Hang out in the streams. I got comments to reply to. Why are we vibrating, cell phone? Throw that over there. What is going on? What's going on? Let's let some people swing in, do some live stream action, talk about some stuff. The dogs are playing with some balls upstairs. Oh, hello, Devin. What's going on, dude? Sam, what's poppin', dude? Hector, and how are you doing? How's your guys' Sunday going? Hopefully you're having a Funday Sunday, something of the sorts. It's pretty wet and rainy up here yet again. What up, Brian? Hope you're having a good day, my dude. Have some EG33 updates for everyone also, but we'll let some more people swing into the stream before we get into any EG33 stuff. Handlebar mustache. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Yo, what up, Kyle? How you doing, dude? Sam, wet and rainy here too. I'm glad it's not like I'm not the only one up in the wet and rain. Eric, what's up? Is me the same person? We're talking on the YouTube a while ago. I know, I was talking to you earlier this morning, my dude. Yeah, I'm from Oregon too, enjoying the rain. The rain is kind of like nice and refreshing since it's been like stupid hot and like super like wildfire-ish like last month and the month before that one. You the man, bro. Hey, appreciate it, Mark. You the man, my dude. What up, Julian? What up, dude? Eric, go Chiefs. So got some EG33 updates for you guys. I obviously still don't have the motor back because whenever I get information, I share it with you guys pretty much immediately. But I was talking to Jeremy over at Outfront Motorsports 2 days ago. We ran into an issue with the crankshaft for the EG33. The crank itself is fine. But we ran into a problem where the company that they used to have nitrating crankshafts, they don't nitrate crankshafts anymore, which sucks. So originally the cost to just nitrate the crankshaft was around $200, I believe. We were able to find another company who can do it for us, but it's like $450 to get it done. But we can't skimp out on nitrating the crank. So the crank is getting nitrated. The closed decking process for the motor is completely done. So they've already milled out the old block. They've already pressed in the closed deck, if you want to call it that. So the motor is closed decked at this point. We're still waiting on our custom pistons to be built. I'm not sure who's building the pistons, but we are getting custom pistons built. So still waiting on those to come in. And I believe once the crank is nitrated and the pistons are built, they can fully assemble the block, get it done, get it shipped back up to us. I'm waiting on Jeremy to send me a couple photos of the closed deck process of the EG33 because I do want to be able to share those photos with you guys to show you guys what it looks like. You can Google a closed deck EG33 and you can see what it looks like, but I want photos of like my motor just to be able to document everything. So still waiting for the motor to be done. It is a little bit of a time-consuming process to get a custom engine built, but as soon as it does come back up and as soon as it is done, I'll definitely share photos with you guys. We'll break down the entire engine build cost for what it costs to build that long block and like all the substantiary parts like the pistons, the rods, everything like that, because it is a little bit different than an EJ built engine because you have different prices going into everything because you need 1.5 of everything. So everything on this build sheet is like 1.5 for parts just because we need 6 of everything. So whenever I do get those photos in, I'll definitely share them with you guys and I'll keep you guys in the loop. But glad that we got the nitrating crank issue kind of worked out. I was a little bit concerned with that one when he emailed me and he told me that they no longer have anyone who nitrates crankshafts. So super awesome to get that one going. What's good from New York? What's going on, Mr. Hidden Death? Mr. Hidden Death. What's going on from New York, my dude? Fox, what's going on, my dude? What up, man? Definitely my favorite YouTuber. Glad you got the kinks worked out in the BRZ. The BRZ is still not fully worked out. We're still waiting on a patch file from ECU Tech to fix the idle issue. The car still throws codes for calibration issues between the throttle pedal and the TPS sensor. It still throws evap leak codes, which is a little bit annoying, and a lean efficiency code for an O2 sensor for a catalytic converter, but we don't have any catalytic converter, so I don't know why it's throwing that code. So that code just needs to get permanently deleted, but that could be tied into the calibration issue between the accelerator pedal and the TPS sensor. And then there's obviously the hood vent issue that you guys saw this morning. That was totally my bad on that one. I got way too excited when it came to cutting up all of when it came to cutting up the hood. I did message Verus. I was like, hey, this might help future people if you guys put orientation on the templates. Just because it didn't say anything on their online instructions about orientation until after I drilled all the holes. And then I was staring at this photo. I was like, none of the vents line up with any of the holes that I just drilled. And then I went back and I like super zoomed in on the photo. I was like, oh dear God, I just drilled all the holes backwards. But temporary, it'll be temporary for a little while. You can nitrate my crank. All right, Devin, talk to me into it, my dude. What's going on, Vorlinius? I'm so bad with names. I apologize for butchering everyone's names. Nate, Pacific Import Auto, a reputable tuner in Washington. I don't like talking ill about a lot of shops. Personally, I would not take any of my cars over to PIA. Their shop from when I was there was pretty disorganized. I've known a couple people whose cars have blown up post-tune and during tune over at PIA. Personally, I'm not going to go too much into PIA, but for me, I wouldn't take any of my cars to PIA. Let me just say that. Made it. What's going on, my dude? Byron, what's up, Tanner? Dude, what's going on, Byron? How you doing, dude? Welcome, sir. Welcome, Marco. Welcome you, my man. BRZ is still kinky. BRZ is always kinky. BRZ is always. Gotta change my name. Made it when I was a youngin'. That's all good. It's all good. Oh, no, you can change your name. I don't even remember what my YouTube name was prior to me actually uploading videos, but I'm sure it was something weird. Hood bent backwards. Code really sucks. It happened. I'm living with it. Like I always tell you guys, I'll always share my mistakes that I make on my builds with you guys. So that way, hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes. So hopefully that helps any BRZ FRS GT86 owners out there when it does come to installing any Verus hood vents. Hopefully they don't do them backwards like I did. The template orientation can really screw you if you don't pay too much attention to it. Just Eric. Easy to remember. PIA likes to blow cars up. I didn't say that. That wasn't me. I don't like disorganized shops. Learned from experience. I have as well in the past. Not a huge fan of disorganized shops. Looking forward to seeing some time slips on your STI. It's going to be awesome. I agree. The STI is going to be set up to do pretty much any motorsport event we want to take it to. I am going to take the car out to the drag strips when it's done. I am going to take it out to autocross just to see how the STI will do. There's a couple like time attack courses up here next summer. I'm hoping the goal is to have the STI running by like mid to late springtime to be able to take it out next summer and go play at some of these events. The big ticket items that we still have to buy are definitely going to be the ECU. That's going to be around $2,300. The turbo is going to be around $2,500. Fab work and the intercooler core alone, just the core that I need for that car, is going to be a little over $1,000. And all the custom fab work, I don't quite know how much all that's going to be yet, but I know that's going to be another big ticket item. Once we get past all of those, it's going to be pretty much smooth sailing from that point. Hey, appreciate the membership, Omnicords. Always appreciate the support, you guys. It definitely helps the channel, definitely helps me out as well. And you guys get awesome early access to stuff. So also, channel members get discount codes on merch. I still got some of the hoodies left, still got t-shirts, other good stuff. So if you guys do want to snag anything, feel free to do so. Appreciate the support, my man. But yeah, the STI stuff, I think the next thing I'm going to order when I have enough is going to be the ECU, so that way we can start wiring everything in. Oh, for you guys also that suggested flocking the dash on the STI, I did order a dash flocking kit, so I will make a video on showing you guys how to flock the dash. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward and easy, so I don't expect too much to go wrong there, but I said the same thing about the hood vents, and well, look where that got us. So the dash and the STI is going to get flocked whenever that stuff comes in. I'm assuming it's going to come in sometime mid next week, but ECU is going to be the next big thing that we order. Then it's going to be the intercooler core and the turbo, so that way we can start doing a lot of the fabrication stuff. Oh, and the clutch. I still have to order the clutch at some point too. So a lot more stuff we have to order, but as time gets closer, we'll order more of it. And as I can save up, we will get as much as we can done. What up, dude? Surgeline is the go-to place. Great tuner and staff. Surgeline is awesome. If you guys haven't seen the Surgeline video of when the STI got tuned, I have 2 videos of when the STI got tuned down at Surgeline. They are an awesome shop. Chris is a super knowledgeable tuner, and he works with people pretty closely, so he's a really, really good dude to work with. What up, Tyler? Hope you're having a good Sunday, my dude. As said in the comments, do a big scoop instead. Trying to street bang Dito's hood vent, granted it way smaller. So I thought about just doing a giant hood vent on the BRZ to compensate for the miscommunication of where I put the templates. Being up here, I don't want a lot of water going into the engine bay, especially I don't want a lot of water being dripped onto the turbo, just because obviously it's going to create a lot of steam. It's going to cool the turbo down a lot more too, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. So I'm gonna work something out. If I can't get this OEM hood to work for something, I'll probably end up ordering a Viz carbon fiber vented hood. Having a paint shop paint the hood and leave the vents carbon fiber, but that's something that we're not going to do till later on, just because the STI does take priority right now for a lot of the modifications and the money that's being spent on the builds, pretty much all being vented towards the STI. Do you run a different oil from summer to winter in 5W30 versus 40? What's best for my 07 WRX and bolt on? So for me, I typically always stick with 5W40 whenever it comes to it. The 5 aspect of it is pretty much just your winter grade of the oil. The 30 or the 40 is going to be your summer grade. So it's just going to be how well the oil actually retains the viscosity at higher temperatures. Personally, for me, I always stay with 5W40. In the BRZ, I tried 5W30 oil pressure, didn't like it in that one, so I did bump that one up to 5W40 also. But it's all going to be dependent on what you want out of it. I would suggest 5W40. The Gen 2 Motul XS is a really good oil to run for your WRX, my friend. I got off my butt last night and put in the Cobb Redline carbon fiber intake, so it sounds so freaking amazing. It does require a tune from the access port. Besides the sound, it does feel like it brought the car to life a little bit. Nice. I've seen the Cobb Redline carbon fiber intake. Looks like a really solid intake. For me, I can't justify the price on that intake. That thing is stupid expensive. It looks really good. It has a really good design. But for the money, for me, I think I'd rather get the SF. But I like the intake. And I'm glad it brought the car to life a little bit more. Watching today's video just raised my anxiety of drilling hood pins into my new carbon fiber hood like 1000%. So if you do want to wait on that one, I am doing a hood pin video on the STI here sometime next week. I already ordered the parts. I'm just waiting for them to get delivered, because since we are going to be doing a lot of modification to the STI, the OEM hood latch has to come out, and we are going to be doing the Aero Catch carbon fiber locking hood pins. So I'm assuming I can get that one done in a better manner than I got the hood vents done. But I will have a video coming out on Aero Catch hood pins sometime next week. Who thinks Tanner should do a Warzone stream with me today? I don't even know how to stream from the Xbox, dude. Although I did get my first Warzone solo win yesterday. I was pretty pumped about that one. Never won in solos before, so that was pretty exciting. Woo! New membership. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's up. How do I become a member? I think there's a tab or a button somewhere on the bottom of the chat that lets people jump into memberships if you guys want. Like I said, channel members get early access to information whenever it comes to any of the builds. You guys get discount codes on merchandise. You guys get early access to merchandise. A lot of other fun, exciting things that I talked to you guys about over in the subsection of the memberships only tab. So if you do want to become a member, it's always appreciated, my dudes. And all the money that does come from memberships, merchandise, anything like that, 100% goes back into the channel. Also, exciting news. I've been ordering smaller parts for the build that I know I'm going to be needing later, that if I don't order now, I'm totally going to forget. I found these on Fast WRX. I was actually pretty stoked when I came across these, but they have engine to transmission bell housing bolt kits. Pretty stoked on that. Was like $30. I didn't want to reuse the OEM hardware, so all the smaller stuff I'm starting to gather. Flywheel bolts, got those ones too. Just a whole bunch of little stuff. Haltech has been awesome for my 05. Haltech is who I'm going with for ECUs. They've been incredibly awesome. I've been talking to them in emails a little bit, trying to figure out what ECU was best for the swap. They said the Elite 2500 was going to be the best for the CAN bus system, just because it'll communicate with a lot of the OEM features of the car already. But yeah, Haltech is awesome. They're super awesome to talk to, incredibly awesome to work with. I started cleaning the shop last night so I can get back up and going. That's what I'm talking about. So for those of you that don't know, Blue Collar Boys is Devin. He's been in the videos before. He definitely helped us weld in that bung on the overpipe for the BRZ. He does a lot of custom fab stuff. He's working on my buddy Eric's Sylvia. I think it's an S13 240. It's got a 1J swap going into it. It's a drift car, but Devin does some awesome stuff. Hidden death, there should be an option at the bottom of there is. I appreciate that you admit your mistakes, doubts, and fears, but just push through it and you'll get done. Experience is the key to being humble and confident. 100%. Like I say, whenever I have problems or mistakes with any of the builds, I share all of that information with you guys, just so you guys, if you do want to emulate anything, you don't fall into the same mistakes that I make. Whether it's me drilling holes wrong in a hood or whether it's me wiring something wrong, I don't care. I'll always share the information with you guys, whether it is right or wrong. Like I said, I'm not right 100% of the time. I definitely make mistakes a lot. Like, I've been playing with Subarus a long time. I know a lot about Subarus, but I definitely don't know everything. Hey bro, hope you're doing good today. So I'm about to go stage 1 plus on my 2018 STI, and it already comes with performance catback from the factory. So I have to go stage 2? No, that is a tricky question. I would start with the stage 1 map to see how the car likes it. If you are getting any like feedback knock or increased fine knock learn or dam dropping or anything like that, which you shouldn't, then I would try the stage 2 map. But stage 2, don't do stage 2. Stage 2 is downpipe only. That would be stage 1 plus map. I would just do the stage 1 map, see how the car likes it. If the car responds a little odd or it freaks out a little bit, then try the stage 1 plus map, see how it responds on that one, then make a decision on which one you want to go with based off of those 2 parameters. But don't do the stage 2, stage 1, or stage 1 plus. Quick, I get negative 1.41 sometimes and negative 2.8 feedback knock occasionally in my 2017 WRX. Yesterday I was out cruising and it registered -7. I'm stage 1 plus. Should I be concerned? I reset access port. It never happened again. For rest of drive, dam never dropped and it didn't register the fine knock learn. All right, so negative 1.41, negative 2.8, you're going to see those values all the time. Those are completely normal values. We're all pretty much aware of that one. If you got a random value of -7, that's probably going to be ghost knock. It happens from time to time. It can happen from road noise, loose heat shields, the knock sensor just picking something up. It's a pretty sensitive sensor, so it could just be a knock ghost anomaly if it only happened once. Just keep an eye on it. If it continues to happen, go in there, see if there's a loose heat shield, see if there's a bolt rattling around on top of the block or something like that. But it sounds like an isolated event, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. Those new vents will work great while you're backing out of parking spaces. I'll just drive reverse everywhere, and the hood vents will work incredibly awesome. Yo, what up, Ethan? Over at Boxer Baddies. What's going on, my dude? Super awesome Instagram page. A lot of Subaru content that they do over there. I'm turboing my BRZ soon. Full-blown race kit. Jackson Racing Cusco AOS for Mark 3-inch quad tip exhaust. What do you think? Sounds like a solid build. For me, I wish I would have either done the full-blown kit or the JDL kit from what I've seen from other people's experience. The MA Performance kit, it's awesome. It looks really good. But just I still can't justify the wait time on that thing. But it sounds like that you're gonna have a fun, awesome build. I'm guessing I don't know what turbo comes with that setup, but the Jackson Racing stuff is quality. That stuff is super quality, very expensive, but very quality. It was expensive, but damn it, just performs amazingly. Well, the induction noise over the insane OEM and hearing other intakes would make it right near the firewall. I am curious what the Cobb Redline intake sounds like. I haven't heard what it sounds like in person. I'm assuming that it's probably going to be a little bit louder than the SF intake, but seems like a really quality intake. I mean, anything from Cobb is pretty much quality all the time. Yo, what up, Nth Level Entertainment? What up, my dude? Hope you're having a good day, my man. Tanner, I have a 2005 WRX 2.0 Blouch 16G, 1050 injectors, NVIDIA downpipe E85 Pro Tune, etc. My tuner says that if I go beyond an exit stage 1 clutch, it will put too much stress on the 5-speed transmission. Question 1, do you agree? 2, how do you feel about the 6-speed upgrade to an STI transmission on the 2-liter? So whenever it comes to 5 speeds are pretty fragile transmissions. Something, if you do want to keep the 5 speed, something that I suggest you do to really retain the longevity of that transmission is look up more blast plates. They're essentially these plates that bolt onto the side of the transmission on the 5-speed, and they give it a lot more strength, and they really keep that 5-speed lasting a lot longer, even with an upgraded clutch. I do think that on the stock transmission with an upgraded clutch, it would put a lot of stress on it. But if you put those more blast plates on there, I feel like the transmission would be able to handle power just fine. I've seen people make up to like 400, 420 with the more blast plates on the 5-speed WRXs, and it lasted a pretty long time. If you did want to do the 6-speed into the 2.0, it's a really good swap to do. Just know that the gearing is going to be a lot shorter, so that way if you are driving around, you are going to be shifting a little bit more than you would with the 5-speed with the longer throws or with the longer gearing. But it is a lot stronger. Personally, I prefer the notchiness of the 6-speed over the 5-speed, but I do think the 5-speed is a better transmission for daily driving. Just because you can stay in first gear longer, you're not going first, second in traffic all the time. You can pretty much just hang out in first gear. So depending on what you're doing with the car, I think the 5-speed is a better transmission for daily driving, but the 6-speed is an all-around stronger, better gearbox if you plan on beating on the car a little bit or taking it out to any type of motorsports events. But if you do want to retain the 5-speed, like I said, those motor blast plates, they will get you by. They will make that transmission last a lot longer. It sounds so crazy compared to the other cars I've seen, R35, 3000 GT, VR4. I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google it later. I'll see if I can find some induction noises of the red line intake because I'm curious. Hey, Smeedia, what are your thoughts from a reliability, maintenance, cost, and time perspective on using a BRZ as a daily if you will be piling miles on it? Round trip, 75 miles of work. That's a long travel. Personally, I think that the BRZ is an awesome daily driver. If you want a fun, small daily driver, the BRZ is a really good way to go. If you keep it naturally aspirated, it's really good on fuel economy also. Like when mine was naturally aspirated, I think I could go like 2 weeks driving it to work and back when I used to do product management at the last company I worked for. I think go like 2 weeks, and it was probably 25 miles one way to and from work, so about 50 miles a day. Okay, maybe it was like a week and a half or so on gas, but really good on fuel economy, really fun to drive as a daily driver. It's not the most spacious thing. They are pretty reliable. They're actually very reliable cars when you take care of them. They're cheap to maintain also. I mean, spark plugs every 30K miles. You don't have to do the valve cleaning like you would on a newer WRX with the FA20 DIT. I say go for it. I daily drive my BRZ. It's turbocharged, and I daily drive it. Fuel economy is pretty trash on it. But aside from that, it's an awesome daily driver. It's cheap to maintain. You can do a lot of the maintenance yourself also. Highly suggest doing it. I'd like to help on exhaust in the STI, and then obviously the core sport and stuff. 100%, my dude. The only real exhaust stuff that we need to do is the header, up pipe, and down pipe. We're going to keep the ETS Extreme cap back on the STI. We're just going to fab up a downpipe to be able to mate up to that. It's already 3-inch. It already sounds good. It already looks good, so we might as well just keep that cap back on the car. Intercooler piping will be a fun one, but we can't do any fab on the intercooler piping until we actually get the intercooler and the turbo stuff. So definitely, my dude, we will get that stuff done. Thanks, bro. That really helped. Hope you have a good day. We still have to play skate someday. I haven't played skate in a couple of years. I used to be a vert skater over street skater. As weird as it sounds, one thing I could never do in skating was a kickflip. Really weird. I could do varials, I could do heel flips, I could do you name it, but a kickflip, I fucking could never do it. Never. That's why I skated vert. I liked vert. I like half pipes. They're fun. They hurt though when you fall. Good man. How are you? Thanks, man. Getting this huge tournament bracket ready. So I saw that you guys were doing another tournament bracket. Boxer Baddies is doing like a weird tournament bracket thing over on his Instagram. A whole bunch of crazy Subarus going in there doing that. So if you guys want to go swing over to his Instagram, vote on some Subis that you like. 57 trim. 57 trim. I feel like I'm missing something out of context on that one. 57 trim. 57 trim. 57 trim. What's up, man? Happy Sunday. Sorry to find out I'm part of only 30% of that are subscribed. Get out there and subscribe, people. That's what I'm saying. Only 30% of people that watch the channel are subscribed. If you guys watch, you ain't subscribed. I'm watching you guys. I'm watching you. Go hit the button. It's free. What is up? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Logan. Hope you're having a good day, my dude. 6-speed would be better for freeway, daily driving too. I think the 5-speed would be a little bit better for daily driving. I mean, you have the longer gearing, you're not shifting as much. We all have our preferences. We all have preferences. What do you think of an XR Black, which is an FP Black but ball bearing for STI? Depends on how much power you want to make. I mean, it's a really good turbo. It's a very expensive turbo. It's a big turbo to fit in stock location. You're going to run into fitment issues with, I mean, that's just FP Blacks. I'm pretty sure you have an FP Black already. But if you do, you know, the fitment on those is like incredibly difficult to make them fit in there. But depending on how much power you want to make, I mean, why not just opt out for a Zona rotor at that point and just go for all the power from stock location? That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I wouldn't get the ball bearing FP Black. I would get the Zona rotor if you're just going all out stock location power. I will save money and upgrade to a billet block and internals. I think it will need bigger injector. What can you recommend for transmission and diff to make it stronger? Raphael, did you comment prior that I answered to? I don't know what your car is off the top of my head, dude. I'm so sorry. I will save money and upgrade to a billet block with internals. I think I need bigger injector. What can you recommend for transmission and diff to make it stronger? Let me know what car you got, Raphael, because I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. Boost plus E85, terrible, but who cares? It's awesome. What do you mean? Boost plus E85 is incredibly. I love it. I love E85. I was contemplating putting the BRZ on E85. I was throwing around the idea it would definitely make a lot more power, but then you got to go. You lose gas mileage. Like I have to drive like a half hour out of my way to go get E85. A flex tune would be ideal for that one. Flex tune would definitely be the way to go. Would you say it's worth forging the internals on a turbo BRZ to chill at 400 wheel horsepower? I think it would make the car a lot more reliable. You're not going to be able to make 400 wheel horsepower reliably on a stock block. I mean, it gets dicey at like 350 wheel horsepower on BRZs, FRSs, GT86s. So if you want 400, I would build the block at least up to 500 wheel horsepower, tune it down to 400 wheel horsepower. So that way you have a 100 wheel horsepower deficit there. So that way you're not putting too much strain on the internals, the motor itself. You might need to do a little bit of head work on that thing also, but I think overbuilding it and then shooting for 400 wheel horsepower would put it at a very reliable spot. That would also be a very fun car to drive. I mean, even at 282 wheel horsepower with mine, crazy fun to drive. I couldn't imagine that thing at 400 wheel horsepower. It would haul. It would haul. You would need some big tires back there to be able to keep any traction down. I mean, I struggle with the 255s with the small amount of power that I have, but whoo, 400 would be nuts. I was looking at getting an STS for a WRX. What are your thoughts on the shift plate as well? I've seen opinions on good and bad. So if you're going to be doing any type of shifter work on an FA20 WRX, my suggestions for you guys, this is what I ran on both of my old FA20 WRXs, is the Boomba short throw shifter, the Perrin shifter stop, and the Boomba shifter plate, or the Perrin brass shifter bushing. Do not do both. It is awful with both the brass shifter bushing and the shifter plate. I hated it. I absolutely hated it in mine. I ended up taking the shifter plate out and putting the stock one back in with the brass shifter bushing. And to me, that felt really good. But don't do both. You won't like both. Motul 8100 XS Gen 2, thinking this was the only one you were talking about. Can this be bought in stores or online? Depending. So if you have like a tuner shop near you, they should stock Motul. There's a couple like local tuner shops that stock Motul up here. If not, you can snag it on Amazon. You can snag it on the Mod Garage. You can snag it on Rally Sport Direct. So if you can't snag it locally, try Amazon or one of those other shops that I listed, and they will definitely jump on it. Brian, not worth it. Yeah, the shifter plate, I would do the brass shifter bushing over the shifter plate. I felt like it felt a little bit stiffer and a little more responsive with the shifter bushing over the shifter plate. But personal preference, some people like one over the other. Choose what you like, my friend. I would build an oval exhaust for it. Why would you build an oval exhaust? What? Garrett Turbo 57 trim. All right, Brian, I'm going back. Garrett 57 trim. Without looking at the specs of that turbo, I would not be able to answer that question appropriately. 2008 WRX with blow-off valve on 50/50 atmospheric. Really needs a tune. Would an access port be sufficient? So an access port would not be sufficient. If you do want to vent some of your if you do want to vent any of it to the atmosphere and you are using a hybrid one, I suggest at least doing it to 60/40, where you're getting 60% of the air back into the intake tract, 40% going to the atmosphere. That at least keeps the majority of the air going back into the system, so the ECU has somewhat of an idea of what's going on. Venting too much of that air to the atmosphere can create some issues with AFR trims, especially on a stock tune. I personally would suggest getting a bypass valve, but if you really want it, at least set it to like 60/40. Thanks, man. Keep it real. Love watching the builds coming out of the garage. Hey, appreciate it, my man. Appreciate it as always. Hey, appreciate the Dono WXSTI videos. It has a Zona Rota. Please confirm XR Black. I will look into the XR Black a little bit after this and check it out. I know the Zona Rotor is its own turbo set outside of the FP Black setup, but I will verify that after this and make sure. I'll just put the answer in the comments section of this video once it processes and goes live for other people to watch after it's been done. It has the Zona Rotor. Oh, it does. If it has the Zona Rotor, if it is confirmed and it has the Zona Rotor, then I would do that FP Black then, instead of going all out on that big build. I remember when you got your car, dude. I remember like when you started building it and whatnot. You started with like an FP Green, went to an FP Black. Now you're looking at jumping up to another turbo. I'm curious. If you make videos, WRXSTI videos, I want to go see him on this build because I'm actually curious to go check it out because you and I have been talking for a while on that stuff. Watch this awesome content for my girl and I said she wants a WRX. That's what it was. Okay, I knew it. Yeah, like I said, without looking into like the specific specs of the Garrett 57 trim, I wouldn't be able to answer that appropriately. So I can definitely check that out after this, though. I eat colors. Yo, dude, I saw your comment before I started the stream. I'm super sorry to hear, my dude. Got a loud knock on the WRX yesterday as a rebuilt stock short block, so I'm thinking of getting a new short block. Not sure what to do. Any ideas? So depending on how much power you want to make, what I suggest doing, if you're looking for just lower power levels but something still reliable, get the Type RA short block. It's a little bit cheaper than the IAG block. If you want to make a lot more power, swap over to an IAG block. But sorry to hear, my dude. Depending on how much power you want to make, either the Type RA short block or the IAG like stage 1, stage 2 block, depending on how much power you want to make out of the car. Also, if you are in Puyallup, you should take a drive around Rainier and show the world what the mountain looks like. It looks so generic from Puyallup area, but haven't seen any on your channel yet. So I actually I have a couple of videos of driving up around Mount Rainier. If you guys have seen any of the older ones, whenever I take the cars up to go do some like mountain driving, I do a lot of mountain spirited driving because either sometimes I can't afford to go to the track. I can't get on registration for track days. Track days are too far, something like that. I generally go up into the mountains because the mountains are always empty up here, especially when you start going like deep into Mount Rainier. It's super. The roads are actually pretty well maintained. They're fun to drive on. I've taken the BRZ up there before it was turbocharged. So I want to take it up there after the tune gets fully worked out. I've taken the STI up there on the E85 FP Blue setups. It's awesome. It's incredible to drive up there. If you guys haven't seen any of those older videos, you want to check out like the base of Mount Rainier, definitely go watch those ones. But hopefully once the STI is done and the weather clears up, we can get back up there. I want to do like a summit drive from the bottom of Mount Rainier all the way up to the top of it. And I mean, I think that would be fun. Maybe make a little cruise out of it. Anyone local could swing up, but for sure, definitely agree with that. Raphael, there we go. 09 Subaru WRX hatchback. Okay, now let me go back up to your question. I will save money and upgrade to a billet block with internals. I think I'll need bigger injector. Okay, for transmission, 09 WRX hatchback. STI 6-speed if you can afford it. If you want to like track the car, do any spirited driving with the car, I think that's transmission to go with on that one. If not, the 5-speed in there, like we talked about earlier, those more blast plates will definitely get you by to make more power. It also increases the reliability and the longevity of that transmission a little bit. While you're in there, swap out any parts that you can that are serviceable parts, like the clutch fork, the ball, the pivot ball, anything that you can swap out in there, swap it out. That would be my suggestion. The 5-speed is a plenty fine transmission as long as it's taken care of and the mods are done to increase the longevity on it. You should have no issues with it. Always enjoy the live streams. Got a question? Should I go with a short throw shifter or chassis mods? If I had to pick between the two of them, I would do a short throw shifter over like chassis bracing, that kind of stuff. For me, whenever I buy a new car, the first modifications that I do are always going to be the driver feedback mods. That's going to be like the master cylinder brace to increase brake pedal feel, short throw shifter, bushings, anything that changes how I interact with the car. Those are always my first modifications that I like to do. We got to do oval with this wild ass build. I think we need to talk more. I think I can convince you. Well, when we play some Call of Duty this afternoon, Devin, convince me, my man. Convince me. The Slim Buddy and Anki. Slim Buddy. What is the Slim Buddy? I don't know what that is. I don't know what the Slim Buddy is. Hey, I'm planning on running an FP Green 60mm with a Tomei Pond Cam. What do you think about the combo? I've heard some really good stuff about the Tomei setup. The FP Green, how much power are you shooting for? Because that's like an important tidbit of information in there. Also, what car is it? But FP Green is a solid turbo. I've seen a lot of people make some solid power on the FP Green. I've seen a lot of people run the Tomei as well. But give me a little bit more info on that one. Thanks for the advice. Anytime, my dude. I am looking to make it stupid fast. Aren't we all? Are we all looking to make our cars stupid fast? This is an expensive hobby. Cars are an expensive hobby, but no regrets. No regrets. I always tell myself there's much worse hobbies you can do out there. Much worse. Much more expensive. Cars, though, they're pretty up there. What made you go with the MAP turbo kit versus the JDL or P tuning? So the reason that I chose the MAP is I liked the options that the MAP turbo kit came with. It came with the injectors, came with the fuel pump, came with the option to have everything ceramic coated to keep heat down a little bit in the engine bay. It came with all of these other options that when I started pricing everything out, it was cheaper to buy the MAP kit with all of the additional extras than it would be to buy like an HKS kit or some other off-the-shelf kit and then add in like injectors, fuel pump, and everything like that. So at the time, I figured I was saving money, so that way I wouldn't be spending as much as I would otherwise. But what ended up happening is I ended up spending a little bit more money. The wait time on the turbo kit took way too long. The missing components of the turbo kit cost me more money in the long run. So personally, I wouldn't, like I said in other videos, the MAP turbo kit, it's very good craftsmanship. I also loved the turbo placement of the MAP kit and kind of how all the piping routed. But I mean, if I had to do it again, I'd probably buy JDL. If I'm being honest, I'd probably get the JDL kit. Oval exhaust is unique. Sounds wild and can give a ton of ground clearance and looks dope with pie cuts. Unique build. Needs stainless oval exhausts. I'll look at some pictures after this, Devin. We can talk about it. We'll see. I'll see what they look like. I'm curious on it now. You've piqued my interest. Thanks for the advice. Wow, dude. Thanks for the advice. Appreciate, by the way. Love your turbo BRZ. Awesome. Thanks, my dude. Would like a BRZ if I didn't need a 4-door car. I totally feel it. If I didn't have the STI. So prior, I've had 3 or 4 FRS BRZs in the past, and I've never once had an FRS or FRS BRZ GT86 with my WRX STI. I always felt like that whenever I had just the FRS BRZ GT86, the car I didn't have enough room in the car to be able to do a lot of things that I wanted to do. So now that I have both the STI and the BRZ, I think it's a really good combo to have for people out there. Like if you guys wanted a small coupe rear-wheel drive that's fun, BRZ is an awesome car to be paired with a WRX or an STI because you have the options of going with one that has a little bit more room inside of it. The BRZ does get a little bit better fuel economy when it is naturally aspirated, but personally, I think it's a good combo to have for both cars. 17x9 versus 18x8.5. Which set do you think would perform better on the turbo BRZ? 100%. Ooh, that depends on tires that you're running too. So when I was looking at them, I wanted to stay with 18s. There was 18s on the car when I bought it. Actually, those were 17s on the car when I bought it. Those niche wheels were 17s. I wanted to bump up to 18s. I think 18s look a little bit better wheel size. But for tires, I wanted the 9.5 just because I knew that the car was going to have issues with traction. It definitely does. Right now, the BRZ is 255 40 18s in the rear and 235 30s 18s in the front, I think. I forgot what the front tire size is, but I wanted to be able to have as much width as I could with the rear of the car. So being able to put the 255 on there, I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have looked very good on a 9-inch wheel. I also already had the tires from the STI because those tires that are on the STI now, those 255s came from the STI. Those tires only had maybe 4,000 miles on them when I pulled them off the STI. I put them in storage. I knew that I would need them later on. So I already had the tires, which is one reason why I went with them. But I do think that having a bigger tire in the rear is definitely going to help you with traction, especially depending on how much power you're actually making too. I mean, even with the 282 wheel horsepower, 232 foot-pounds of torque, I believe those are the numbers. It's somewhere around those. Even with the 255s, it still struggles with traction at times. Sorry about the vent install malfunction, my dude. Yo, it's totally my fault. I should have looked closer at the orientation when I was looking at Verus Engineering's website. I did message them on Instagram, and they did respond. I was like, hey, it might not be a bad idea to put some type of orientation on the templates for people who might be doing this in the future. Just have like this way front of car, this way back of car, something like that on the template, so that way no one else makes the same mistake I made. But, you know, it happens. It's no big deal. Lighter and better for race car. The 17x9s are lighter. Well, it depends on the wheel too, because you can get some pretty light 18s. You can also get some pretty heavy 17s. So that entirely depends on the wheel also. Hi, Dad. Thoughts on Cosmos racing wheels? Leaning on getting some R1s for my WRX. Personally, I will never order wheels from Cosmos Racing again. When Cosmos Racing first became a company, I had the most annoying and biggest issue I've ever had with a wheel company before. Their wheels look good. I'll give them that. Their wheels look very good. Downside, their wheels are very heavy. The only time I bought wheels from Cosmos Racing, I was pissed. I was so mad. I lived in Louisiana at the time. It was when I had my 2008 STI. They shipped 2 of my wheels to my billing address because I was in the Army at the time. My billing address was here in Washington, but my shipping address was in Louisiana. They shipped 2 of my wheels to Louisiana. They shipped the other 2 wheels to Washington, and then they wouldn't reimburse me for their mistake on shipping, so then I had to repay shipping to be able to get the wheels back down to me. So after that, I will never buy Cosmos again. Their wheels look good. I will definitely give them that, but they are definitely heavy too, so just keep that in mind. What's up? What's up, Jack? What's up, dude? Hope you're having a good Sunday, my man. Smeedia and Jeff, since he is also helping, LOL, would 300 on 93 pump gas be achievable? With the correct setup, it would definitely be achievable. All depends on how much boost you want to run, turbo size, all supporting mod sizes too. So as long as you have the correct supporting mods, it's 100% achievable. Also depends on your tuner. Make sure you got a good tuner. What's up? What's up, Mez? What's up? I don't want to get stupid fast. I've had stupid fast. I want to get agile and responsive. That's kind of what I was shooting for with the BRZ. The STI, I want to be stupid fast. The STI is going to be stupid fast. I cannot wait to get the STI going. That car, the waiting period on waiting for the motor is the worst part, because I know that's the part. This is the part that's going to take the longest, is waiting for this long block to be fully done and built. God, I cannot wait to hear that thing just start up for the first time. I'm so stoked on it. How much horsepower can a stock STI block handle? Depends on the block. If you have the Type RA short block, people have been making like 550 on those blocks. If you have the older internals like I had on my 17 STI, I was making around 400 pretty reliably. The car was pretty happy with it. The clutch, not so much, but you could definitely hit 400 reliably on a stock older STI block, as long as you have the proper reliability and supporting mods and a good tune on the car to be able to do so. Just got the rolling fenders. Hope I don't mess anything up. It's not too bad. Make sure you have a heat gun. Make sure that you really do heat it up. I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen if you're rolling fenders and you don't really know what you're doing is cracking your paint. Aside from that, you can't really do too much damage unless you're like stretching the fender out. But as long as you have heat, your paint will be totally fine. So if you don't have a heat gun, make sure you have a heat gun, and that should keep things flowing pretty smooth on the fender rolling. Thanks, my dude. When my EJ205 finally goes, what are your thoughts on a 257 versus 207 swap? Good. That's actually a really good question. So my thoughts on a 257 swap versus a 207 swap is I'm going to tell you to do the 257 swap over a 207 swap. Yes, I will admit that the 207 is a very, very, very good stock engine, but when you're doing a 207 swap, you're using a JDM ECU. Access ports and Cobb doesn't support JDM engines. So if you're wanting to like do simple bolt-ons, an EJ257 is going to be the way to go, because you can get this STI ECU, the STI long block assembly, the EJ257, and you can still use an access port. You can still monitor everything. You can still do OTS tunes and E-tunes pretty easily. But if you do the EJ207, you're going to have to use like open source tuning and all these other platforms. So personally, I would do an EJ257 over an EJ207 if you're looking to keep things a little bit simple. Doing my XT headlights, so far so good. Great tutorial type video. Hey, glad the video's helping, my dude. I remember you telling me the other day you're going to be doing those this weekend, so hopefully it all works out. The Forester headlights are not too bad to do. They're actually one of the easier headlights to pull apart are the Forester XTs and the non-XT models. But awesome. Interested to see how that goes for you, my man. Yeah, that's what I am looking to switch from my Innovate Supercharger kit. Love JDL quality. JDL quality is like super good. I've seen a lot of people run the JDL. Why did it do that? The JDL kit is like super quality. Fitment is awesome. I've seen a lot of people make some good power with the JDL kit as well. Duo, what's going on? Hey, Smeedia, I really don't want to blow my FA and have been running intake exhaust OTS tune from MA Performance. Am I good with those, or should I go with a dyno tune to be extra safe? A dyno tune is definitely going to be safer than any OTS tune that you put on the car. I'm going to tell you that right now. OTS tunes, I made entire videos on OTS versus like dyno tuning or pro tuning in general. A pro tune is going to be a specific tune made for your car in the environment that it's in, because an OTS tune has a lot more lenient values and not as tight of tolerances for like humidity, borrow pressure, a lot of other things. At least with a pro tune, whether it be an e-tune or a dyno tune, is going to be specifically made for your car and not a generic tune made for every car that uploads it onto the ECU. So if you do want to be extra safe, a pro tune is definitely going to be a better option for you. Finally a live stream I can make it to. What's going on, Jeffrey? What's going on, dude? Much love. Thanks for everything. Anytime, Raphael. What up, brother? What up, Steven? What up, dude? Why are you vibrating, cell phone? Have been thinking of a JDM EJ205 swap while I turn my cylinder heads. Thoughts? We kind of touched on that one. If you want to keep things simple and still be able to use an access port, I do suggest using a USDM setup. If you want to go the route of doing like open source tuning, Tatrix kind of stuff, a JDM swap is definitely a good way to go. Love to catch a game of Call of Duty one day. Also, don't feel bad about the vents. I would have done the same thing. It happens. It happens. I think I put it out there before. If any of you guys want to add me on Activision for Call of Duty, feel free. PDA. Any of you guys have Activision? You want to play some Call of Duty? There's my gamer tag. If you guys want to add me on Activision, I play every now and then. Where did I just go? Thanks, Jeff. Do a OFT logging. OFT is some good stuff. Everybody thumbs up and subscribe. That's what I'm talking about. I like it. I like it, Brian. I'm feeling it. I want my 3000 GT to be stupid fast. See, we all want a stupid fast car. It's just stupid expensive to be able to do so, but it's always fun. Always fun. There's 40 plus and I only have 6 thumbs up. That's what I'm saying. There's 18 now. We're getting there. We are getting there. When cutting my bumper, should I buy a Dremel? Yes. 100% buy a Dremel. I bought my Milwaukee Dremel with the M12 batteries at Home Depot. I think it was on sale for like $60 or something like that. And then I just bought like a ton of cutoff wheels and like a little accessory kit. But for sure, a Dremel is a very good tool to have. It will do a lot of different things for you. Have you heard of anything good or bad on the MA Performance E30 tune for WRX? I have not. For me, I don't really use e-tunes from anyone other than Cobb. Then again, you guys all know how I feel about MA Performance on that one. So I'm not sure on their E30 tune or not. If it's an OTS tune and you're trying to mix ethanol in there, I would stay away from that personally. I don't like the idea of putting an E-tune or an OTS tune on my car that's an ethanol blend. I don't like the idea of that at all. Need some more moolah. That's what I'm saying. What's a solid wheel horsepower range on a 19 WRX? Depends on how much power you want to make. The FA20 DIT is a really good engine. It's a very efficient engine. You do need to stay up with maintenance on them, though. That's the only downside. Walnut blasting every 30K on the intake valves, spark plugs, regular maintenance, things like that. But if you do want to make some solid power, EGR delete, TGV delete, charge pipe, or intercooler intake, J pipe, catback, E85, and you can be making some pretty solid power. I've seen people make like 350, 360-ish on E85 with that setup. Really solid setup to do. If you don't have access to E85, you can expect maybe around 315, 320 on that setup. Also depends on the tuner, how much boost you're running, and other supporting mods on the car. What's a good place for tuning that supports Cobb in Washington? If you don't mind going down to Portland, Portland's not too far. There's a lot of good shops down there in like the Vancouver area. English Racing, PRE, Surgeline Tuning. If you're looking to stay north a little bit more, there's In Front up here and a couple other local shops. But my suggestions are always going to be Cobb, PRE, and English Racing. They are the best shops, in my opinion, in the Pacific Northwest for any type of dyno tuning for any application. They are incredibly good. I believe they all support Access Tuner for their access ports also. I'll try to make a short cruise video with the GoPro. So that's what I'm saying. Let me know. Let me know if you upload it. I'll go check it out. Definitely want to hear it. Hey, friend, do you see the new FA24 becoming the popular swap in the current FA20 because of better internals and more power? I don't have a solid answer to that yet until the FA24 gets a little more specs released on it. They've been a little ambiguous about how much information they've actually released on it. I think that the FA24 is a little bit of a cop-out engine that Subaru is doing. If you look at it, they're putting the FA24 in absolutely everything. They're putting it in the new BRZ. They're putting it in the new STI. They're putting it in the new WRX. They already have it in the Ascent. They're probably going to move it to the Outback and all these other things. Hey, Brian, appreciate the dono, man. Thanks for sharing the knowledge. Anytime, my dude, I'm here for you guys to answer your guys' questions however I can. But I think the FA24 is a little bit of a cop-out of an engine from Subaru, and I think it's a little bit of a lazy move on their end, too, just putting it in all of their new cars and just throwing it out there to see what they can get back from it. I think because they're putting it in so many different cars, I think that there's going to be issues with the FA24 for the first like 1 to 2 years of production and the first generation of the STI, the WRX, and all these other platforms that are getting the FA24. If the FA24 does seem to be more reliable, I do see it as an interesting swap to do in WRXs and older BRZs. And if that's the case, if the FA24 does hold up and it is a very good engine, I may try to find one and try to swap one into the BRZ at some point. But as time goes on and the FA24 gets actual testing of road use from consumers, I think that'll really tell everyone how much the FA24 is really going to, how long it's going to last, how much power they're going to make, and how reliable they are. I mean, Prime Motoring took an FA24. They made some solid power really easily. Hey, Steven, appreciate the dono, my man. All support helps. Appreciate it from everyone, my guys. But Prime Motoring's been doing a lot with their FA24, and they've been making some solid power with it. So, I mean, as time goes, I mean, we'll see how well the engine actually fares. But if you look at Subaru's track record for new engines coming out, the first 1 to 2 gens, whenever they release a new revised engine, typically have issues. If you look at when they did the 07 to 08 swap, they had a lot of issues on the 08 and 07, or 08, 09, and 10 WRXs and STIs. Unfortunately, my old 08 STI was a victim of rod bearing failure from that swap and transition from 07 to 08. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when the FA24 actually comes out. The swap would be left stock until the IAG Stage 1 block build is done, no axle support in the 257, and is running. If you plan on keeping it simple like that, then yes, it's 100% a solid swap to be able to do into the car. As long as you keep JDM swaps simple, they're pretty good swaps to be able to do. Thoughts on the FA24 DIT swap into the VA? Kind of similar to what I just tied into. I think time will tell on how the FA24 actually fares and does in consumer use on the market once it's actually out and about driving around. I just got a bug eye and got a gas smell in the back seat. Check the O-ring around the fuel pump. So if you lift up the actual backseat cushions, you're going to see where the fuel pump hanger sits. Probably just needs a new gasket. If that's the case, it's like maybe a $10 fix from Subaru if you just go buy the gasket. Yep, see, Jeffrey's already on it. Fuel pump gasket. Awesome, thanks. Anytime, my dude. Just saw your hood vent install video for the BRZ. Still looks good. Don't sweat it, bro. I'm not too worried about it. It's just, it happens. Sometimes I install parts wrong. Sometimes I install them backwards. I'm not going to hide anything from you guys or try to be like, I did not do this wrong. This is 100% what I meant to do or anything like that. But I don't think they look terrible. I don't think they're nearly as functional as they should have been, but I'll get it taken care of in the future. I'll probably end up buying a Viz carbon fiber hood in a couple of months or something like that. We'll take it to a paint shop. We'll have them paint it for us. We'll leave the vents carbon fiber. I would love to actually try to paint. I'm not a good painter at all, actually. I take that back. Twin turbo setups, super pricey, but yeah, some cars are just meant for stupid fast. I keep the 3000 GT in storage. That's my speed car, the gearing, and all-wheel drive and old school JDM all-wheel drive twins. That's what I'm saying. Those things are cool cars. You don't see a lot of them out on the roads anymore. Keep it a gem. Keep it pristine. Make it fast. Make it fast. So we're not going to see a new STI until 2022. 2022 is supposedly the new release date for it. I'm guessing with COVID, all this other stuff going on in the world, production, lead times, everything has been dropping incredibly slow. So I don't think it's going to be coming. It's definitely not coming out in 2021. I can tell you that much. So 2022 is the new projected timeline from Subaru. So we'll see if they actually stay on track with that one or not. The BRZ events pay homage to the Fast and the Furious 2 Supra. Very similar orientation. I'll have to look at that. I will actually have to look at that because I don't remember how those vents look. FA24, one engine to rule them all. Cores are going to be cheap quickly, at least. I mean, if the FA24 has the same internals across the board, which I don't think it's going to, you could probably pick up a cheap FA24 long block out of like an Ascent, an Outback, a BRZ, something, and do swaps pretty cheap. I volunteer as tribute for the FA24. I think if I swap the engine in the STI, we'll wait until the new STI engine is and get a new engine wherever they go for the FAXX. Not a bad game plan on that one. I just bought my 04 WRX and it currently has 96,000 miles on it. Is it still okay to tune or is it too old to tune? An engine is never too old to tune. So as long as before you go into like modifying and tuning it, make sure that the engine is like refreshed, it's clean, it's ready to go, compression measures and everything is solid across the board. You don't want to be trying to put a lot of aftermarket parts onto an engine that's not healthy. Just make sure overall engine health on the car is good and you shouldn't have any issues modifying it or tuning it or anything like that. So, okay, so I'm running a burble tune on my 93. Is that okay? So, burble tunes. I will touch on burble tunes. Burble tunes are not. So, burble tunes are going to kill your catalytic converters. They're going to clog them up. The car's not going to be happy when it's running. You're dumping. Essentially, what you're doing is you're dumping excess fuel into the cylinders, and the unburnt fuel is getting pushed into the exhaust, causing the explosions and the burbles and the pops and the bangs that everyone loves. They sound good. I do think that sometimes they get a little bit excessive. They get a little bit loud. There's too many pops and bangs and whatnot. But it's not the best. It's not the healthiest tune for your car. Personally, I wouldn't use one on any of mine. Is it really that bad on the engine and turbo? So essentially it actually is kind of bad on the engine. Not so much on the turbo, but it is bad on the engine. So when you're putting excess fuel into the cylinders, what happens is not all of that fuel is getting burnt. Some of it's getting pushed out of the exhaust valve, but some of the fuel is actually washing down the cylinder wall and it's actually going into your oil, which is thinning out your oil and reducing the viscosity of it, which obviously worsens the lubrication properties of your oil, which can create issues long term. I don't suggest using the burble tune. It's just not something that I've ever been behind or can really support on those things. But not so much bad for the turbo. It is bad on the engine though. And your catalytic converters if you have cats, and your fuel economy. There's no real positives behind the burble tune except for the noise. Holding out on doing engine mods on my 17 STI until the new FA24 comes out and we can see how well the engine holds up to modding. Agreed. I don't think we're going to see any solid results until the first like 1 or 2 years it's been out and people are actually like pushing it, daily driving it all the time and seeing how they actually work. But definitely interested to see how the FA24 actually responds. Does exhaust tip size affect turbo and STI? No, it does not. Not the tip. Not just the tip. Just the tip. No, not so much. Is the FA20 time to shine? For years, all the engines on Subaru platforms were EJs. No one said anything. That's true. I am interested to see. The FA20s have been pretty stout motors. I've seen some FA20s make some pretty solid power on stock blocks. Cats are getting deleted. I'm allergic. I see it. I see it. How many cars do you have room for? Would love to see you get an old Bug-Eye. I would love to, but I am out of room for cars. So we have a blown-up Legacy GT on the side of the house right now. We have Matt's Neon in the garage, which isn't running. We have my STI in the garage that is not running. We have the BRZ. We have Melanie's Impreza. We have a Cross-Track. And we have Matt's Outback. So we have 7 cars here. I don't have room to be able to get another one until we're able to get a bigger shop. But hopefully at some point in the future, we can actually afford to do so and expand a little bit more. I have an old video of the 3000 GT on my YouTube. I'm super old, like 8 years ago. Project Love. I will definitely check it out. I'm kind of curious. Sounds awesome with that tandem exhaust. That's what I'm saying. I can go check it out. Yeah, but they burble. They do burble. I have a 2015 STI. I have an IAG 2.5 Tough head studs and Tomei Poncam FP Green E85, and I'm shooting for 475 wheel horsepower. You can definitely achieve that with the 1300s. Your injector duty cycle is going to be higher running it on ID 1300s over ID 1700s, but they can definitely scale that down a little bit so that way it will be just fine. If I were you, I would get the ID 1700s just to alleviate a little bit of the stress off of the injectors, and you should be just fine on that one. I raced my engine one time when it was cold and not up to the operating temperature. Did I damage the engine? Not. Well, I mean, I don't know the overall engine health of your motor, but typically you want to let oil viscosity and oil temperature increase as much as you can to operating temp before jumping on the car. When you're really getting on the car and the oil is colder, the viscosity is obviously thicker. So as it's flowing through the channels, it's not flowing as efficiently as it would be if it was at operating temp. Just let your cars warm up and you'll be solid. Does YouTube pay good? You really want me to answer that one? Because I'll answer it. I don't care. YouTube doesn't pay good at all. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'll be straight up transparent with you guys on this one. I upload videos every other day. I do live streams. I try to do at least one a week. YouTube doesn't pay that well, to be honest. So when I got out of the Army, I have VA disability. My knee and my hip are a little bit messed up from when I was in the Army. And that definitely helps pay a lot of my bills. And that is pretty much what allowed me to be able to do this. But as for YouTube, it's not what you guys think it is. It's maybe anywhere between like $1,300 and $1,800 a month, to be completely honest with you guys. That's why like it takes me quite a while to be able to save up money to buy a lot of these parts and modifications that we're doing on the STI, which is why I just don't bulk order everything, because obviously I can't afford it all. But no, I'm going to be straight up honest. YouTube does not pay that good. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. I thoroughly enjoy helping out you guys. It definitely helps pay the bills with everything, but no, it's definitely not the best paying job I've ever had. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, I hate cats too. Not a lot of people like catalytic converters. If you don't have emissions, delete your cats. Don't do that. I'm just joking. Keep your cats. Delete your cats. Do whatever you want with your cats. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your cats. You ever own a Scooby with a drive-by cable? Yes, I did. My O2 WRX was drive-by cable. I think that was the only one, though. That was the only one. Is the new AOS V3 worth the upgrade from the V2? I haven't looked too much into IAG's upgrade on their V3 swap. I got an email for it that they released it a couple days ago. I'll go check it out. I might make a video on it, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. If it's like substantiary changes and it's like game changing or something like that, maybe I'll make a video on it. But if you already have a V2 in your car, I wouldn't worry about buying a V3 and just completely changing everything. Gonna look at 2 ZZ swap for my MR2 today in Seattle. Maybe it's going to be a future project. That would actually be really cool. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. I'm curious. YouTube used to pay well, but they kept changing their policies and started cutting money to content makers. Used to make. That is true. That was before my time on YouTube, but that is true from what I've heard from other people. But now I'm not doing this for the money. I thoroughly enjoy helping out the community. I thoroughly enjoy helping out, just sharing the builds that I'm doing it all, or doing with everything. So for me, not so much about money. I mean, it's nice that it helps me pay bills and be able to buy modifications, be able to share things with you guys. But to be honest, it's not that great. Thoughts on DBA 4000 brake rotors? Really good rotors. DBA makes killer brake stuff. I would buy DBA stuff, but it's a little bit too expensive for me. Typically, I go Stop Tech rotors and pads. But if you have the money for DBA, get the DBA. Do you miss it all at all? I do miss my O2 WRX. That car was a fun car. I loved that bug eye. That thing was a trooper. That bug eye would go like through hell and back and still be running. Don't understand how that car survived me, but I do miss it. I do miss my old bug eye. Yeah, I feel I'm building my WRX on 1,400 a month. See, we're all out here grinding. We're all out here struggling. I feel it, my dude. I feel it, my man. Florida equals no cats. Washington equals no cats. Well, Washington equals optional cats. Also, if you had to choose for the FA platform, forced performance or steam speed, both are stock location turbos. I've never used a steam speed turbo, so I can't speak too much on their turbos. I've used forced performance before, and I like FP, so I'm a little bit biased on that one. So I'm going to say FP, but Brian from the Mod Garage, he's the owner of the Mod Garage. He's been in a couple of videos. I believe his at WRX is on a steam speed turbo. That car picks up quick. So the steam speed turbos, from what I've seen, are actually pretty responsive turbos. What's up, Tanner? Saw the hood being done. It looks good. Just got the WRX back, and man, is she healthy and fun. Glad to hear that she's healthy and fun, my dude. No one wants a sick car. But yeah, the hood vents, they're on there. They're backwards, but they're on there. What's a good low dust brake pad for STI Brembo? OE pads are horribly dusty. All pads are pretty much going to be dusty. For the Brembos, what I have found is ceramic pads are going to be a little more dusty than like organic. Organic material has been least dusty for pad dust that comes off. So if you want to try organic, that's not a bad way to go either. Obviously, for ceramic, if you're doing any spirited driving ceramic, it's going to be a little bit better of an option once the brakes actually heat up. But if you want less dust, organic pads are a good way to go. Have you been to any car meets lately? I'd like to meet you in person. I live in the Seattle area. I actually was. I went to a car meet 3 weeks ago with the BRZ. Not a lot of them happen up here, unfortunately. The ones that I typically go to, if you guys are local, is any meets that are in like the Puyallup, South Hill, Sumner, sometimes Auburn area I go to. For the most part, I don't like going to too many of the car meets up here just because a lot of them get out of hand. And I don't want to participate in a lot of the car meets that destroy local property, people doing burnouts in parking lots, people like drag racing on this. Well, there's people out here that'll shut down the freeway or the highway, and they'll do like donuts on there. They'll race out there. Those are the type of car meets that I don't want to be affiliated with. I like the ones that are a little more low key, chill. Everyone just hangs out in the parking lot, walks around, talk to each other, meet everyone and stuff like that. I can't get behind the car meets that destroy personal property or like business property. So I don't go to too many of them out here just because a lot of them just get out of hand. Good camera lens combo for making videos working on my car. If you're just starting out, the Canon M50 with the kit lens is actually a really good camera to start out with. That's the one that I started out with when making videos. You can shoot in 4K, you can shoot in the 1080. Really good camera to start out with. That would be my suggestion if you are wanting to buy a camera. But if you're just starting out and you don't really know if you want to be doing a lot of videos, I suggest using your phone to start with. Like phone cameras are pretty good to start with. Just get like an external microphone or something like that, so that way the audio picks you up a little bit better. But if you're not sure you want to make a lot of videos, start with your phone. If you do want to make videos, the Canon M50 is actually a really good camera to start out with. I need an O2 RS as a daily. I want an RS. RSs are hard to find. I missed my bug eye, jumped timing, and working temp jobs equals sold it as a shell. Sorry to hear. Bug eyes are getting hard to find. A lot of GD models are actually getting hard to find nowadays. What's up, dude? Ooh, catching a live stream. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. Where do you get your OEM fluids? Dealer in Olympia don't carry much. Typically, I stock up on OEM fluids every now and then. Whenever I'm placing an order on the Mod Garage or Rally Sport Direct, I will typically order a couple fluids if I'm low. So typically, I'll have like a gallon of coolant. I have a spare set of spark plugs for both cars out there. I keep a stash whenever, so that way if I need to do anything, I have it all here. But if you are ordering Amazon, you can get pretty cheap fluids. Subaru Puyallup, if you are local, always has fluids in stock, but they are a little bit more pricey because their pricing system is like off of a random generated matrix, which doesn't make much sense to me at all. But online is going to be your best bet. Just stock up a little bit, have a little bit of extra everything in your garage, and you're never out that way. 2018 STI stock internals, 400 wheel horsepower. Goal is 1,000. Oh my God, dude, I read that wrong. I was like 400 wheel horsepower, but the goal is 1,050. I was like, hold up. Get the 1300s, get the ID 1300s. When I was making 400 wheel horsepower on E85, the 1050s were at their limit. They were like straight up at their limit. The 1300s will definitely bring down your injector duty cycle. Dude, I keep feeling like I have to burp, and I never do. It's like right there, and then it's like, and it's gone. But the 1300s will definitely bring down your injector duty cycle when you're making that much power. The 1050s, you can do it with 1050s, but you're really going to be stressing the injectors. When I did it, I think our injector duty cycle was around 80 to 85% on E85, which is not something that I would suggest doing. Get the 1300s. Do you work on the side since YouTube does not pay good? LOL, I'm 100% VA disabled too. I'm not 100% VA disabled, but I do side jobs for people. Also, I do installs. I do headlight builds. I do freelance photography, videography for people. So I do a lot of stuff that kind of generates like side revenue. I'm not looking forward to filing taxes this year because it's going to be all over the place and I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'll figure it out. YouTube doesn't pay that well yet. You're going to have 100K followers in just under a year. We'll see. I mean, like I said, when I originally started making videos on YouTube, I didn't intend for a lot. Like I honestly didn't intend for it to get any traction or any following. Originally, the whole reason I started doing it is I was watching videos at home. I was like, I can make videos. And at the time, I was working as a product manager for a biochemical engineering company. We made cleaning products for gas stations like that. And I was a product manager, so obviously I had to do training for these products for people, and we were tasked to go make training videos. And after making the training videos, I was like, I kind of like doing this. And then when I was sitting at home that one day, I was like, I want to make videos. I want to help people out and kind of do the same thing. So here we are. So we'll definitely see how things go. It's, I mean, I'm just glad I get to be able to do this and be able to share the information with you guys, hang out with you guys, kick it. I'd love to be able to meet you guys in person and do local meets and stuff like that. But hopefully Washington actually like changes policy soon and they don't like crack down on people. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'm just here to hang out with you guys, do that kind of stuff, and share information and help you guys build your cars any way I can. Sometimes when making turns, my bumper comes loose. Is that because the 18-inch wide wheels are too wide and touching the inside of the wheel well? Could be. Your wheels could be rubbing on the bumper. They could be rubbing on the fender. I don't know if you're lowered or not. Make sure that you have like the back side of the bumper, like push vents. It's this little like circular vent with a hole that goes in it. I realized the motion that I just did after I did it. But it's just like a little clip like that. Make sure those are in there and that'll keep the bumper from popping off. Also, the fender liner vents are also, make sure you have those clips in there too, because that'll definitely keep it from popping out all the time. Yeah, Kent is really bad with those kind of meets. That's why I always avoid Kent. I never go to Kent. The only time I drive through Kent is when I go to the mod garage to pick something up or drop something off for Brian. GoPro is nice. GoPros are nice cameras. I don't know where my GoPros are right now. I think they're on my camera bag back there. I use 2 GoPros. If any of you guys want to film with a GoPro, the GoPro Hero 9 just came out, which is actually a pretty good GoPro if you guys want to do some like cheap camera stuff. They came out with an LED screen on the front of it so you can actually see yourself when you're filming, which is actually very nice. But GoPro is a good option to do too. Missed it this time. See you on the next one, homie. Thanks for everything. Anytime, my dude. Appreciate you swinging by the live stream, my man. Random question. Any tips on aligning the transmission spline with the clutch when putting the transmission back on the car? Just finished replacing my throwout bearing. Very annoying to do. When I did it on the BRZ, the issue that I was having is you have to get the engine and the transmission at the same angle. They have to be like 100% of the same angle to be able to line back up. If they're not at the same angle, it's not going to line back up. The issue that I was having is I couldn't get it right. It took Melanie, because if you guys watch those videos, it took Melanie and I 4 hours to get the transmission bolted back up to the engine on the BRZ. When doing it on a WRX or an STI, you have to keep the same thing in mind, because keep in mind that you have a pitch stop mount on the transmission that keeps the transmission up at the correct angle to meet up with the engine. When you pull the engine off and it's only sitting on the engine mounts, the engine leans forward a little bit, so you're going to have to jack the engine up to bring it back up to level, get the transmission level with the engine, get the actual clutch alignment tool aligned with everything, and then try to slide it in. Don't force anything. Don't like hit things with like a hammer at the backside of the trans, anything like that. You can damage splines, you can damage the transmission, and you can damage the clutch that you just put in there. So take your time, make sure everything is at like the correct angle of entry, so that way they meet up appropriately. What up, bro? All the way from New York. What up? Hope you're having a good day out in New York. I hope it's a little bit better weather than it is here. It's like super like stormy. We had a thunderstorm yesterday. I was like pumped. I love thunderstorms. On a note, dealerships, mine is horrible and still shady. Might have changed owners and name, but still same shady. Why are Subaru dealers shady? Last oil change they put. Oh, that is sketch. Not all Subaru dealers are sketchy. The only one that I'll take my car to up here is Subaru Puyallup, only because Matt, you guys have seen Matt in videos. Matt works down at Subaru Puyallup, so I genuinely trust their shop, because he used to work as a tech. He's a service advisor now. He's a really genuine good person when it comes to that kind of stuff. He doesn't try to like super upsell people on stuff that they don't need or anything like that. So that's the only dealership that I trust, only because I know the people that work there. I've been going to that dealership for a couple of years now. So I mean, it's hard to find a dealership that's actually trustworthy. If you do find one, consider yourself lucky. If not, there are a lot of shady ones out there that'll just try to ring you out for money. They'll try to upsell you on things that you don't need. So find a good dealership. Subaru Puyallup is actually a really good one locally if you guys are needing any like dealership work type of stuff done. Your content is awesome and super informative, man. Best Subaru content on the platform, hands down. Hey, appreciate it, my man. I'm hoping you get your car fixed soon, my dude. I'm still sorry to hear that happen. Going E85 on the S209 soon. Any recommendations on tips? Find all of your local E85 pumps available. Go test the E85 so that way you can get the best. You know which gas station to go to for the best ethanol content. Do that on a span of like 2 to 4 weeks, because as the trucks come in and as seasons change, E85 content is going to change from all of these different stations. So just make sure that you're finding the best reputable stations with the highest quality E85, so that way you're not putting in a lower blend or too high of a blend or something like that. So kind of gauge it on what your car is going to be tuned for, and you should be pretty solid. Aside from that, all of the rest of the installs, I've got full installs on installing the entire E85 setup on a WRX or on an STI and EJ platforms. But sounds like it should be fun on the S209. I haven't seen a lot of modified S209, so I'm like super curious to see how that car does. That HKS turbo on there, I hear, makes some pretty solid power. Under the Train wrecked it. I recently checked it, and they only put one bolt. See, I don't understand why they do. I don't understand the techs. Maybe they just don't care what they're doing. They don't really care about customers' cars. Also looking to do headers, oil pan, up pipe, external wastegate, 1300 cc's. What brand do you recommend? For headers, equal length headers all the way, Killer B or ETS. Oil pan, Killer B or IAG. Up pipe, Grimspeed with external wastegate bracket. And injectors, get Injector Dynamics. Solid, solid, solid. I see vape juice in the background. You need to do Subaru stereotype video. I do. There is vape juice back there. There is. I used to do those little disposable vape things because you're still trying to quit smoking. It's a struggle. Don't ever start smoking if you guys ever. Just don't do it. Like I started when I was in the Army, like 10 years ago or something like that, and it's an awful habit to have. It's absolutely awful. I noticed the other day when I was making a U-turn, when I turned my wheel all the way, there was a weird rubbing noise sound. Stock car. What you can do is throw some cardboard underneath your wheels. If you have little adjustment ramps, put the wheels on some ramps. Have somebody hop in the car for you, have them turn the wheel back and forth, crawl under the car and just kind of peek around, look in the wheel well, see where it's kind of clicking or rubbing. If you can find it, address the issue that way. If not, it could just be something that's loose down there. Sounds like it just might be rubbing on maybe a, God, what is it? The splash guard. Like my car used to do that when the splash guard was ripped when I was on bags. And every time I would turn the car, it would catch the splash guard and just go like click, 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 click every single time. It was super annoying to deal with. Hey man, so getting ready to do valve cover gaskets. Any tips or tricks on it? You're going to have to go jack the car up. That's going to be number one. You're going to have to go from above the car, below the car, above the car, below the car multiple times to be able to get all bolts out. Make sure that you pull coil packs out. Make sure you take the spark plugs out before pulling those off. Just makes the job a little bit easier, makes it go by smoother. Spark plugs, coil packs out, and then just transition from above and below the car to be able to get the gaskets out. Ugh. My engine builder recommended Redline 10W40. Live in Bay Area. What do you think about Redline in general? Also, what about the weight recommendations? So, well, I don't know what just happened there. So 10W40 is typically break-in oil. Motul has a 10W40 that's a break-in oil. It just has different minerals deposits in there. So I don't know if your engine builder is recommending using 10W40 as soon as the build is done for the break-in oil, or if he's recommending that long-term. Typically, I would go with 5W40. If you're in the Bay Area, I'm guessing that's California, it doesn't get too cold down there, so I don't think you would need to go up to a 10W40. But I mean, it's not a bad option to do so. I would listen to your engine builder on whatever he recommends on that one. But from what I've seen, 10W40 is typically a break-in oil. What car YouTubers do you stay up to date with, Smeedia? All right, so every once in a while, I'll watch Daily Driven Exotics, but I'm getting to the point where I just stop watching them because it's like every other episode they're buying a new supercar or a new hypercar, and it's getting like old watching the same thing over and over and over again with just a different car. B is for Build that I've watched B is for Build since he like started uploading, but I'm not into the boat stuff. I could really care less about boat content, to be honest. I mean, I support B is for Build and everything that Chris does over there. Boats, I'm not a boat dude. I can't get behind boats. Aside from that, I watch Adam LZ every now and then. Evan Shanks pops up on my feed every now and then. I'll like click or so here, but it's like the thing that I don't like, and I told myself this: if this channel ever gets big, the one thing that I told myself is that I would never do builds that are unobtainable for other people to do. I like building cars that are feasible for anyone to be able to build. I don't like the idea of people going out buying like a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, like all of these like high-end cars that the average person can't buy. Like, we want to watch content that's relatable, and when the content becomes unrelatable and it's something that we personally can't do, like, yeah, there's really cool builds out there that a lot of other car YouTubers do, but it's unfeasible and it's unrelatable, because it's not like I can go out there, do a similar build, I can go out there, buy this car and do a fun build like that too. So for me, as long as the content's relatable with other YouTubers out there, that's when I'm engaged in it, and that's when it's fun to watch. When it starts to get unrelatable, that's when I disconnect. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to afford to do this build. I'm never going to be able to do this thing. The supercars, the hypercars, they're cool cars, but that's not the reason I like cars is because I like a car I can modify, I can play with, I can drive. It has good driver feedback. It's something that I'm not scared to go take out and like beat on or anything like that. If I bought like a Huracan ever, I'd be like, oh my God, don't get near the car because a piece of dust is going to scratch it and that's my life savings or something like that. No, I like cheap cars. I like the cheap cars that are fun to build. Like I was talking to Melanie the other day. I was like, I want to buy a Miata. Like a Miata would just be a fun car to have. Never had a Miata. They look fun. They look easy to work on. It'd be a new car to play with. Like I want an FD. I want a late 90s JDM car. I want a late 90s JDM car. I don't know what it will be, but I want one at some point. I really like FDs. I've been trying to find like cheap FD shells out there also, but as long as other car YouTubers out there continue to make content that are relatable for me to watch, that's when I stay engaged. But as soon as it gets like unrelatable and it's a car that I can't get, then that's when I'm like, I just don't really care. Toyota Sarah. I wanted like a chaser. I want like a JZX car. You can find them for like 10K on Craigslist out here, but that's just my thoughts on it. Just my thoughts. Everyone has their own thoughts on what they watch on here, but that's what it is. I like that question. That was a fun question. I don't even remember where I was just out. Island Subaru in New York City broke my axle while replacing my steering rack and blamed me for it. That's super fucked. I don't know what to say. I would see. That's why I got dash cams. I got dash cams in my cars. They take my car in there. It'll record absolutely everything they do. I don't trust them. I would use Motul 5W40. Awesome oil. Thanks for the info, my man. That was very helpful. Anytime at Level Entertainment. I wish you the best of luck when reinstalling that transmission back up to that engine. David's World. Oh my God, David's World. I lost your comment. Okay, 03WX. Same tips still apply for doing those valve cover gaskets, my man. I only smoked cigs when I was 17 for that summer. So much stress. I randomly have a cig now. It was like 9 years ago. It's a terrible habit. Like I said, don't start smoking, guys. Any 5 EAT love? I bought an 07 LGT for my wife. Now yes, actually. So for those of you that have seen Matt's Outback on the channel, he has a built 5 EAT automatic transmission from was it level 10 performance? I think they're out in New York. That thing is nuts. A built 5 EAT transmission is nuts. What's your opinion on an E-Tune Pro Tune for completely stock 2020 STI with it for the gains? I mean, honestly, you're fine with the stock tune until you really start modifying the car. At that point, get an E-Tune or get a Pro Tune. E-Tunes are really good options to be able to have and use when you don't have access to a dyno tune. Street tunes are another good idea, but not a lot of people out there still do street tunes. All these supercar YouTubers are so fake. I agree. Like, I try to keep like my personality 100% genuine. I'm not going to change who I am in any of these videos because like that's when they stop being fun. Like if I'm not myself in my own videos, then I don't enjoy them. Get a Pro Tune ASAP. Stock tune is garbage. If you're planning on keeping the car stock through warranty, don't tune the car. If you plan on modifying the car and you want to get rid of the stock tune, that's when I would do it. The stock tune is not the best. I will completely agree with that. It is pretty garbage. But if you want to keep your warranty, don't modify it. Don't do it. Miatas are awesome. That's what I've been trying to tell Melanie. She tells me she doesn't want a Miata. I almost got one. That's what I'm saying. Miatas are cheap. They're cheap little fun cars. Toyota Sarah. I still need to look at a Toyota Sarah. Check out MK2 MR2s. An MR2 would actually be a really fun car too. Need too much rear end work. Miatas need a lot of rear end. I don't know a lot about Miatas, so I cannot attest or agree to that one. I have no idea. Appreciate you sharing. Cool answer. Anytime, my dude. I don't watch supercar stuff. I mean, I did drive the R35, but it isn't European supercar or anything. Because it's like whenever people start getting to like supercars or hypercars, it's just the content becomes unrelatable, in my opinion. Get into M car. I really want an older, like M3, something like that. I think that would be really cool, but they're always like stupid expensive, and I just don't. I don't want to buy one for the prices that people are asking. Those are played out. Go unique. That's what I'm saying. I would like a GTR someday. I used to have a 1993 Skyline GTST Type N. Super fun car. I would never buy another one. I would never buy another one of those cars. I had that car for like 4 months. I have never owned a car that had so many problems so fast. The car was imported from Australia. I mean, I feel like the car would have been a lot better if I had like a build sheet of what was done to the car. It had mystery turbo, mystery injectors, just a whole bunch of mystery stuff done to it. And that car broke left and right. It was awful. And trying to find parts for a GTST in the United States is so difficult because people overcharge, they upsell everything. And it's like, I didn't want to pay for the money for them. So after like it was like 3 or 4 months of having the Skyline, I ended up selling the car. Fun car. Wouldn't buy another one though. 99 to 2000 Miata. It has a bulletproof engine. Is insanely fun to drive. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, level 10 is out here in New Jersey. I'll look into that. Awesome. Yeah, level 10, they did Matt's transmission. I don't know how much it cost him, but they did an awesome job building that transmission. I've never driven an automatic transmission like his car that is actually so responsive. That thing is crazy quick at shifting. It feels solid. It holds power. I think that transmission is built to like 800 wheel horsepower. But it's measured in torque, though, so I actually might have that backwards. I'm not sure. It's a strong transmission. They did an awesome job. VA WRX are trash. LOL. That hurts. I used to have 2 of them. Stage 1 tune for VA WRX makes the car way more drivable. I will completely agree with that one because it does get rid of like all the rev hang that the WRX has. Like when I had both of my FA20 WRXs, the rev hang on that car was so awful to deal with. I did not enjoy driving it with the rev hang on there. Just an OTS stage 1 tune on the car made all the difference. All the difference. The one I was looking at, join the R35 is awesome. But if the transmission breaks, you're screwed. True, that car is like stupid expensive. Stupid expensive. I just sold my WRX and reflashed to stock, and I felt like I was learning how to drive a manual. It's crazy different on those ones. How often to change my plugs on my 2015 WRX? I'm running ethanol full time. 20,000 miles is how often I change my plugs, whether you're on pump gas or E85. You can always pull a plug and check it at 10,000 miles, see how the plug is doing. If they look super worn or too white or too black on the tip, you either know it's running too rich or too lean. You can make the judgment call at that point to see when you want to swap them out. But typically, I always swap my plugs at 20,000 miles. Subaru recommends doing it at 30,000 miles. People say that I do it. No, people say doing it at 60,000. Subaru recommends 60,000 for plugs. I don't like running my plugs to 60,000. If you pull your plugs after 20,000 miles, you'll see why I don't like waiting that long. People tell me that I do it like way too soon. I'm going to damage the threads in the head, all this stuff. But I'd rather keep my car running at its optimal performance all the time. So swapping plugs out every 20K is something I do. You guys can swap them out whenever you feel like. But for me, 20K, if not, just check your plugs like every 10K. You can just pull one and see how they're doing. That's the scary part about getting a JDM car: parts availability and questionable history. 100% true. If it's so like the Chase or like a JZX car that I've wanted for a long time, a JZX car would be a JZX car would be a little bit easier because I believe the JZX comes with the 2J. 2Js were in the States, so it's pretty easy to find parts on those ones. But like the RB that I had, the RB20, I loved it. That was the smoothest sounding engine I've ever had, but getting parts for it, like you said, it's expensive. They're hard to find, and when you do find them, people want an arm and a leg for them. I have a goal of taking a $500 car and making it supercar level for less than 40K. Seems a bit, oh my God, seems a bit more rewarding than going and buying a supercar. I agree. That's why I like building my cars rather than just buying them. It's more rewarding that way. That's why we're 6-cylinder swapping the SCI. I mean, I could have sold the car and went out and bought something that would make power a lot easier. But what fun is that? That's not fun at all. Usually JDM cars are taken care of far. True. It depends on where the car is coming from. I think it depends on where the car is coming from and what all is done to the car. But typically JDM cars are more well cared for than USDM cars. Rev hang on the 2020 is not bad. Yeah, I heard Subaru was revamping ECU tuning on the newer WRXs to try to reduce rev hang. I don't know how much they actually did reduce it, but good to hear that someone else is saying that they did fix it a little bit. Yo, what up? How are you? Your thoughts on the new Type R? And you said I meant to say, how are you? Dead. Doing pretty good. Hope you're having a good Sunday, Savvy the Gamer. What are my thoughts on the new Type R? I'm going to be honest, I haven't looked too much into them. I've seen that they can make some pretty decent power pretty easily. I'm not a huge fan of the styling on the new Type R or the interiors on them, but I do think it would be a fun car to own. I've never test driven one. I'm curious to see how they actually feel. So if I ever get the opportunity to test drive one, I will definitely do so. Would you be willing to answer a health question? Any time. That's why I'm here, to answer your help questions. 2015 STI Stage 2 dyno tuned, getting hesitation, knock, dam, drop only on long road trips, totally fine when not on road trips. So what my first thought is with that is your baro sensor might be changing. I don't know where you live or where you're going on road trips to, but if you're changing in altitude, your baro sensor is going to be making adjustments to the ECU to how much air pressure that the car is actually seeing. So if you're going up in altitude, you're going down in altitude. Melanie's calling me? Is she in here? Oh, I heard my name. I said you could get a Miata. I don't want one. I want you to have the Miata. I don't even know where she's at. She's somewhere in the house. I want her to have a Miata. Melanie, if you're watching this, I want you to have a Miata. We can have a Miata together. We can do Miata stuff. But my first thought on that one is going to be either bad gas or your baro sensor is trying to make adjustments to the ECU. Regarding my baro sensor, yeah, I'm changing. Yeah, if you are changing altitude significantly, it's 100% going to be your baro sensor. Since you're pro tuned at one altitude level, it's not making all the necessary adjustments when you're going up or down on altitude. So that's going to be why it's hesitating and acting a little funny. If you are like in an entirely different altitude, just try to stay off the throttle a little bit, and you should be all right with that one. I just broke my front and rear diff. Jesus. Rip, I launched my... I just ordered the STI trans. Wish me luck, bro. Hey, have fun on that swap, though. That new transmission will do you a lot better than WRX1 did, especially if you're going to be launching the car. I wish you all the best in your swap. So you like the new Call of Duty Cold War? I haven't been able to play the beta, all right? I got an Xbox. The beta doesn't come out till next week, so I can't play it quite yet. I said you could get a Miata. I don't want one. Melanie, let's go get a Miata. I worked for Ford, and Ford Performance Engineer pulled the original plugs in my 2013 Focus ST at about 45K and said they were just as good as new. See, the ST was tracked and autocrossed a lot. See, I don't know. I can't get behind it. Like, whenever I pull my plugs out, they always look fouled. I don't know. I don't like the idea of running just super old plugs. It sketches me out. It sketches me out running plugs more than like 20 to 30K. I mean, it also depends on entirely how you drive, what you're driving. Snap Melanie's calling you out. Type R would be sick in all-wheel drive. That would be a sick car in all-wheel drive. Faxman would seem sick. That's what I'm saying. All-wheel drive. My ITR front, or oh my goodness, ITR JDM front clip was so clean. The fluids were new. I could eat off the engine bay. That was frightened. LOL. How new the interior looked smoked. Super smoked in. The dash looked like it was in a war zone. Ooh. Autocorrect beats me every time. If you guys look in the comments enough, you'll see autocorrect just demolish me. Whenever I'm responding to your guys' comments and videos, autocorrect just beats the hell out of me. It's confirmed, sir. FP black ball bearing. Get it. If it has the Zona rotor, get it. That's a solid setup. No, Melanie, you want a Miata. Thank you, bro. Favorite YouTuber any time, my dudes. Savvy the Gamer will swing through your comment, then I'm gonna hop off here. We've been on here about an hour and a half. I got to run to the auto parts store. We're painting the STI's engine bay, so that's gonna be the next video that goes up on Tuesday. Is repainting the entire engine bay and making it look pristine. Matt's in here now. Now everyone else in the house wants to swing in the live stream as we're ending it. But yo, man, I saw your video today. I laughed when I saw the hood. It looks good though. Have you ever thought about getting a Cybon hood? If I do get a hood, it's going to be a Viz carbon fiber hood. Personally, I prefer the fitment of Viz over Cybon, but we'll see as time comes through. But I am hopping off here, you guys. We've been going for 90 minutes. If you guys want another live stream later this week, I'll probably do a random live stream at some point. But appreciate all the donos. Appreciate the new memberships that came through. Appreciate all the support from you guys. And like I said, if you guys do still want to snag any merch, we still got hoodies, t-shirts, jet tag stickers, air fresheners, toe straps, the whole shebang. It's over on the website at www.smeedia.net. And with that, though, I hope everyone has an awesome Sunday. I will catch you guys later. And thanks for swinging by. Don't know what I'm doing. Never know how to end these.